So there was a lot of love at the PlayStation panel. Like they had after Wolverine, it was Tokon. Then it had God of War Laufey, which they confirmed is coming out pretty soon, February. But I was watching some footage from the Wolverine panel. They Liam got the whole crowd to say hello, Bub, and it was just like no one was shouting about a disc. Everybody was just there to enjoy the games. It was just generally good vibes, and you wouldn't know from walking seeing all the reactions that there was an active movement against PlayStation because everyone's because it kind of it kind of feels like it's over. Like I mean, it was to be clear, it was already like they were never going to reverse decision because
No.
the truth about this boycott. This is why I was saying it was so important to focus on consumer rights rather than the whole physical disc thing specifically, because the truth is game publishers have been trying to move away from physical releases for like 2 decades now. Like this is always a thing that bothered them because of the ecosystem didn't did not benefit them. Like you spend the money to print and distribute the disc. You give it to you send it to stores like GameStop. You have to give them a sizable cut, and then if someone buys it from GameStop and then trades it in, they get nothing off of that transaction, and then they can use that to get a discount on their next game. So which they would do for especially for like games that they would come out annually. So this was just constantly lost revenue that these game publishers were always dealing with, like and then not to mention people like handing off a game to a friend and letting them borrow it, right? So that's another person potentially that would have bought the game that didn't. So it's like this is something they were always looking for a reason to get rid of, and that Sony just awkwardly decided, oh, I guess this is the time, once they felt like the trends were shifting enough towards digital, because we saw those numbers that I think it was like only like 5 games in the US sold over 100K physical units in a year. So it was like, so that they kind of took that as their justification to do what they've always been trying to do, and that's why they haven't like even released a statement in response. Like they're just like, nope, this is what we're doing, and that's the that's the end of it. They're just kind of acknowledging it. And as someone who doesn't love this, like actually never liked this. I've obviously had a bunch of discs because we didn't have a choice, but I never actually enjoyed it. Like there was nothing worse as a kid when you go to Blockbuster and you go and find the game this like that you want, and it's like one copy left on the shelf, and you hand it to the register and they open it up and the disc is in too poor condition to give you like even accounting for a scratch remover, which is the thing you had to buy. Like you had to get scratch and blemish removers and just keep it in the crib just in case. And like there would be times where even that, when you knew like even that wasn't going to help, so you just had to leave the store with nothing. I hated that feeling. So once we finally were able to go digital, I was like, oh, what you mean I can just download the game immediately and just play it? I'm never looking back.
Let me tell you a funny story. It was 2006, I want to say. I was living in Jacksonville, Florida. I went and I bought my Xbox 360. And that day Madden came out. And so I came home with Madden 06 and not Elden Ring, the Elder Scrolls for Oblivion. Those are the first 2 games I bought for Xbox 360. It was, I don't think it was the day it came out. I think it was like the week it came out. And I came home, I set it up, set up my account. I put Madden in, and my dog at the time, Teddy, walks in, knocks over the Xbox, and all I hear is click, 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 click. I open it. I take Madden out. it hadn't even loaded yet. Okay. And I put it back in, and the game won't work. I go back to GameStop, and I'm like, I literally just got home with this brand new game. I put it in, and it just won't run. Like, and they knew that I was just there. So like they took it, they put it in theirs, it did the same thing, and they just swapped it out, fortunately. And there was nothing wrong with the Xbox, but he was every bit of a puppy at the time, and he was just playing with a ball, and I had it upright like everybody seemed to do, and that was the only time I ever had it upright. I moved it, and I put it flat, and never had that issue again. But it was pretty funny. So, but I mean, obviously, yeah, I'm obviously like a big collector.
Yeah.
I have lots of physical discs. I 100% prefer digital, from a standpoint of I don't have to go fumbling with discs anymore. I love having my collection. I love getting steelbooks, and I love being able to say, oh, look at this, it's every Assassin's Creed game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love that. So that's the part that I struggle with. But if I'm going to be honest with you, I am kind of at a point where the only time I buy a disc for release is if like I feel like I can get it before I get it digitally.
Yeah.
Otherwise I don't buy the disc version until months and months later when it goes on sale. Like, I just, and if I do get the disc on release, I get it on the opposite system of what I get it digitally. And I do that. Like, and honestly, like my Xbox copy of like Lego Batman, it's still sealed. And I'm probably never gonna open it, I got the Cosmic Invasion like edition, and it's sealed, haven't opened it. Invincible Collector's Deluxe Edition, sealed, haven't opened it,
Yeah,
like
I got
Expedition 33, sealed.
I got freaking, because I went a little crazy when PlayStation last had that big Black Friday sale, and mostly got digital stuff. But one of the physical ones that I got, because I saw someone who mentioned it, Elden Ring was on sale for $20, but it was the physical version. I was like, yeah, all right, I'll buy Elden Ring for $20, and I'm like, yeah, that's something I could try. I've never opened it. It's still sitting. It's still sitting right here in front of me, completely sealed. Never touched the thing. I just put it right next to my PS5, which I also don't use because I switched to the PS5 Pro, and it's just there as a collector's item, because like I feel like I put my time in physical. Like I went all in, like on the physical era. I got, because mostly because I love video games, and I had to. I went so far. Like I remember Dragon Ball Z had just gotten like really big in the United States because they came on Toonami, and I was like, surely they have to have some Dragon Ball Z games. And this is before like they had just flooded the market with them. So like the only Dragon Ball Z games were like Japanese, and the problem was, because they were Japanese, the current technology of PlayStation didn't allow you to just play them. You had to get a special device called Action Replay. So bless my mom, I had her go through like all of Philadelphia through Center City, looking through different stores. I think we finally found it in the EB Games, tucked in the mall. I found this game on it, Dragon Ball Z. I think it was Dragon Ball GT and Dragon Ball Z Legends. And then I found out about the Action Replay, so I had to buy this whole separate device with a spring, and I felt like I was like an engineer trying to hook this thing up to my PlayStation, so it could literally just translate the game data onto the PlayStation so that so that I could play it. So I just had this goofy ass thing just poking out of my PlayStation. But sure enough, I could play my Dragon Ball Z games, and I was the only kid in class that had it. So all the Dragon Ball Z fans wanted to come over to the crib and play it with me. And my best friend literally wanted to play so bad he actually cried when his mom wouldn't let him go over.
Oh, that's crazy.
Because the game it was so gas.
I have a memory kind of like that. Obviously my dad was in the Marines, and a lot of people would get stationed in Japan for a while. And my dad, he was into video games, but not like a ton back then.
Yeah.
So like when he went to Japan, he didn't think, oh, I should get these things that you can only get in Japan. Other than he brought me back some like Japanese Transformers and stuff like that. But we were visiting one of his friends that had just got back from Japan, and he had a Neo Geo, and you couldn't get that in America at the time, I guess. And I just remember playing all these like Neo Geo games at his house, and it was like the coolest thing at the time, because it's like, oh, you can't play these games in America. These are from Japan,
Yeah.
And I always remember that. Like, I don't even remember that friend or anything, but I remember playing Neo Geo at his house. So
there was nothing. There was levels to it. Like as a kid, if you had the latest console, or you had a holographic first edition Charizard, or you had Japanese games, you were the man. You were the man in class. Not necessarily to the girls, but you were the man for everybody else. You were the man in class if you had that going. And I was doing my best to keep it like I didn't care about the latest clothes. I didn't care about apart from just make sure I had an Iverson jersey because that was my goat. some Iverson Reeboks. Other than that, I only cared about video games. Like I just give me the N64, give me the PlayStation. I needed all that. And I feel like the reason I was thinking about this, I feel like the reason why it feels like gaming was more fun back then is not because there were more games, because there are more games releasing now than there ever were. And there's so many more to play on. The technology is so much better, and it's so much more convenient. But I think the sole reason gaming felt more fun back then is because there was no social media. I firmly like I've been thinking about all the common denominators, everything people remember finally. That like there was stuff, the midnight releases were fun, sure, but I think it really just came down. There was no social media. So like for me, peak gaming was like you had all these amazing games coming out, and you can play them and talk about them with your friends in real life. And and when it came to like coverage, if you needed a guide, you talk to your friend, or you go down to your game video store, pick up a literal physical strategy guide, and if you wanted coverage of the upcoming games or what's going on, you turn on G4 TV, and you said you watch Judgment Day for the reviews, you watch Cinematech for the cinematics, you watch their coverage of E3, and that was your exposure to the global gaming community. And I feel like social media has just ruined the entire experience for everybody.
Yeah, you made me just think to look and like I loved midnight releases. I loved going to midnight releases. So I was just looking through my memories to see if I had any popping up in my feed, but it doesn't look like that's the case.
Shout out Toys R Us. I love Toys R Us.
Oh, my favorite thing. Yeah, when I worked at CVS, I used to raid the magazine rack on my break. We weren't supposed to, but I did it anyway. And I would read the wrestling magazines, the video game magazines, and sometimes the music magazines.
Sometimes.
So, yeah. But yeah, I do agree with you though. I do feel like, and it's not just exclusive to video games. It's literally anything and everything people can bitch about they do. And it's kind of getting annoying. I keep seeing like, the Odyssey takes. Like there's even one in my feed right now.
God.
like right now, literally, there's somebody that's the problem I have with the Odyssey is that we didn't get to know how the war started.